days ago. So I got a few minutes to spare, and I'm going to try to get it all in before, it's time for me to start my shift. But nevertheless, over the years, Charles Barkley has completely let everybody knows that he is not one of us. He doesn't want to be one of us. And if it was up to him, he probably would change his race. If Charles Barkley didn't have melanin, and you would know that he was clearly a born black man, you would think based off his mentality that he's a white man. Because Charles Barkley loves to come on these platforms, primarily these white-oriented platforms, and constantly just attack black people. Now, he's sitting up here talking about, and before I get to that, when certain situations happen pertaining to black people, you already know who's going to be the people that's going to defend Mighty Whitey at all costs for the most part. The Three Stooges, Jason Fatlock, Charles Barkley, in all likelihood, Stephen A. Smith, the Three Stooges. So, of course, Charles Barkley was doing what he does best, go on a white-oriented media outlet and point the finger at black people, talking about he saw the police report. Like police reports can't be doctored. Like police don't write what they want to write. Like police don't lie on reports. They tried to lie about what happened to George Floyd on the autopsy report until an independent autopsy was performed on George Floyd, and it was determined that he strictly died from what Derek Chauvin did to him. So cut the shit, Charles Barkley. But of course, Charles Barkley loves to talk about what he can't stand. Talking about, I can't stand people who sit up here and make everything about race, but then you always strictly attacking black people. Anytime something happens to black people, they bring his ass on there to try to dismiss any claims of racism by the black community. Like we give a fuck what Charles Barkley think. He just a dude that loved talking about black people to mix company because he's a sellout. He's been a sellout for the past 30 years. He's attacked black women. He constantly attacks black men because he's a coward. Now, he wants to dismiss racism pertaining to Tyreek Hill, but he hasn't missed the so-called suspected racism that's aimed towards Caitlin Clark, because people are claiming that it's racism why nobody likes Caitlin Clark, or why people are attacking her, which nobody's attacking Caitlin Clark. But he hasn't said nothing about the death threats and the hatred spewed towards Angel Reese. He hasn't said a damn thing. Hasn't said a damn thing. But every time something happens, in particular to black people, he loves to be the Sambo on speed dial. Well, we're going to bring Charles Barkley in here to dismiss and debunk the claims of racism. Like I said, nobody cares what Charles Barkley thinks. Nobody be like, well, you know what? Since Charles Barkley said isn't true, us black people got to be quiet. Come on now. Let's keep it a buck. Come on, man. Who cares what Charles Barkley think? So we just want to tell you, Mighty Whitey, you wasted your time. Don't come on my outlet talk about, well, what Charles Barkley said. Like, we don't care. We don't care. We all saw what happened to Tyreek Hill. And once again, all this stuff about comply and all this kind of stuff, just because the police give you an order, you don't have to follow it. Tyreek Hill don't have to keep his windows rolled down because the police said. His job is to check his license and registration. He doesn't have to keep his windows rolled up or down because he gave him a command. So when you people sit up there and say, well, he told me, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. He could say, I prefer to keep my windows up. Oh, well, you don't know what he got in the... Like, come on, man. Who the hell gonna have a weapon in a Ferrari? Okay? And like I said, most officers prefer you not to have your windows rolled down because that's easy access. At the end of the day, this was a guy that was in his feelings and I don't even like to use that terminology, that police was soft and emotional. At the end of the day, he could have been the bigger person that said, sir, I want to get this over with just like you. Okay, we're gonna. Soon as he said, "Give me my ticket so I can go," I would have said, "Okay, that's cool. That's cool." So all this stuff about, oh well, you don't have to have an attitude towards the well, where does it say? There's no law saying that you have to be nice when you get pulled over for a traffic stop. It's not law. So you don't have to be nice to them. You don't have to say yes, sir. You don't have to be polite. At the end of the day, they are supposed to have restraint. They are supposed to have patience. That's why they call it law enforcement. That's why they are supposed to be an officer of the law, a community servant. They are supposed to be the bigger man and women. Unless he gets out the car and physically tries to do something, then all bets are off. Because he mouthed off to them. So what? And Tyreek Hill said, yeah, he could have probably not did that, but that still doesn't warrant them roughing him up and then placing his teammate under temporary arrest because he was just trying to make sure that Tyreek Hill didn't, end up on the front page being deleted. So all this stuff about comply, how many times did you get a dude that complied and he still ended up in the morgue? We've seen plenty of videos of that. How many times have you seen a dude say, hey, I'm going to reach for my license, but I happen to have a weapon on me and end up getting deleted? So don't play with me like that. Don't play with me like that. I've been doing this far too long. I've been on this planet almost 50 years. I know the law. All this stuff about, well, if you have an attitude towards them, they're going to have an attitude. At all costs, the police are supposed to be trained to have physical and mental restraint. Unless they feel like you are an imminent threat, there was no reason to get him out the car. Violated his Fourth Amendment rights. He's looking at a lawsuit. So for people trying to justify what happened to Tyreek Hill, please. Charles Barkley needs to shed his goofy ass up. Charles Barkley is a lame. He's a lame. He's a lame. So while you got people, like Kwame Brown and all these other people trying to there is no justification for what happened to Tyreek Hill. They keep talking about, why don't we be polite? But why don't they be polite to us? Like I said, if you that mentally unstable, once again, he said, give me my ticket so I can go. He pretty much, okay, he's admitting to guilt. He said, okay, give me my ticket so I can go. Nobody don't want to hear no lecture about, hey, man, and all that stuff. Like, dude, you ain't no school teacher. Like I said, you ain't Joe Clark from Lean On Me. He said, give him his ticket so he could go. Okay, once again, that he pretty much admitted that he was in the wrong. If I'm a police officer, I've been like, okay, cool. I would have walked right in. I would have said, okay, cool. Let me see your license. I'm going to just write you a ticket. Go. Boom. At the end of the day, the police was trying to humiliate him. And I think to a certain degree, they knew who he was. All this stuff about, oh, well, you can get that stuff that Kwame Brown was talking that I have to call cap on. Oh, well, you can routinely get a rent-a-car of a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. So I don't think it's racial profiling. Well, here's the thing, though. I'm going to say this once again. It's not about the car. It's who they see driving the car. Mercedes, Benzes, BMWs, Audis are considered luxury cars. They're sold on a regular basis in the United States. Black people buy them all the time. But still, you will have a police who see a brother in a Mercedes Benz or Audi. He'll still try to find a way to pull them. I didn't see several videos of guys saying, hey, man, Police pulled me over for no reason. I'm driving the speed limit and the police can't even explain to the guy why he pulled him over. And he'll lie and say that he fit the description. And I seen one police that was cold busted, tried to lie and say that the car was used in a robbery. And the dude said, I just bought this car. I just pulled off the lot. So when he revealed that to the police had no choice. Oh, all right, get out of here. Because he tried to tell a lie. So don't play with me like that. But getting back to Charles Barkley has always been a house nigga. He been a house nigga. All he does is say embarrassing stuff to embarrass the black community. We don't look up to Charles Barkley. And once again, we don't care what Charles Barkley thinks. Charles Barkley could try to be the Negro whisperer all he wants. We don't pay attention to dudes like Charles Barkley. We don't. We don't care what he thinks. So for all you white people that think you can come on to our platform and say, well, Charles Barkley, who gives a fuck? Charles Barkley don't have no value. We don't value his opinion. So there you have it. But anyway, you guys, appreciate you. Got to start my shift. Just wanted to get that off my chest. I'm out.